With the pro football season now underway, we went to one of the outstanding photographers who takes many of the photos you see every week in the NFL game programs. So here is photographer Peter Reed Miller through the camera's eye.
My name is Peter Reed Miller. I've been photographing pro football for the NFL magazines Pro and Game Day and for Sports Illustrated since 1973. Before that, I covered college football for USC. Although I photograph many sports, pro football is far and away my favorite. I like the action, I like the people of the game, and I like the fact that photographers are not restricted to specific positions. We're all down on the sidelines, and with the exception of the bench area, we can photograph from wherever we want. So, in a way, a photographer covering football faces some of the same problems as a player or a coach. Consider the game situation, anticipate what's going to happen next, position yourself accordingly, and be ready for the unexpected. This is Denver's Mile High Stadium, September 1977. The season the Broncos went 12-2 and played in the Super Bowl. It's a beautiful October day in Colorado, opening kickoff against the Raiders. Each fan held up an orange card. It was an electric moment. Some players, like the Raiders running back Marcus Allen, seem to have a style and grace that makes them naturally photogenic. Another player with that great quality is Detroit's Billy Sims. Here he glides to one of the 3 touchdowns he scored against the Rams in his NFL debut in 1980. Although this photograph of Eric Dickerson was taken in the studio and not on the field, I still feel that it captures the concentration and intensity that characterize Eric's running. An aspect of football that has always fascinated me is the element of man-to-man competition. In this photograph, Earl Campbell and Nolan Cromwell go one-on-one, 2 of the best in the game in their respective positions. Here, Russ Washington of the Chargers tries to get the upper hand on Jim Stuckey of the 49ers. Despite the best efforts of 2 Seattle Seahawks defenders, All-Pro receiver Cliff Branch brings down a reception. This photo was taken in the Los Angeles Coliseum during the 1984 preseason. Although preseason games rarely produce memorable action photos, the late summer evenings can provide some fascinating lighting. Sometimes a wider view can reveal a different aspect of the game. This photo, taken from high in the end zone in San Diego Stadium, shows the Charger offensive line setting up pass protection for quarterback Dan Fouts. 49ers practice facility in Redwood City, California, one of the last practices before O.J.'s retirement. I know this was a very bittersweet time for O.J., and I feel this shot captures that mood. This is Hall of Fame defensive tackle Merlin Olsen, one of the greatest players I've ever photographed on the field and one of the greatest people I've ever worked with off the field. Merlin was one of the original fearsome foursome, and even in 1976, his last year in the NFL, he was still a terrifying sight to behold from the viewpoint of a quarterback. This is a receiver's eye view of Brian Sipe. He's just released the pass and he's about to get hit. I like the quality of imminent disaster in this photo. 1977 Rams-Vikings divisional playoff. The worst conditions I've ever photographed a game under in Los Angeles. By the 4th quarter, the only way you could tell the teams apart was by their helmets. This is Coach Tom Flores after the Raiders' victory in Super Bowl 18. To make this picture, I slipped into the Raiders' locker room with about a minute remaining in the game. I wanted to be in a position to capture their enthusiasm the moment they came off the field. This photo is more suggestive of war than sport. It reminds me that football is a game, but it's played for keeps. I think most people see pro football in a very standardized format. Every Sunday on the screen, the teams are different, the scores are different, but the viewpoint remains the same. There's very little of the sense of a specific game.